Can you just describe what a corporate pressure campaign is? I mean, I know they're not all the same, but just in general, like what kind of target you pick and how you talk them into doing what you want to do.
A corporate pressure campaign is basically when we focus exclusively on one company. We have one very specific ask. In our case, we're asking for a fur-free policy. In ICA's case, they're asking for a cage-free commitment. And so we focus all of our energy and time and resources on pressuring this company. We do this several ways through secondary campaigns, tertiary campaigns. So that means sort of, disrupting and causing tensions amongst business relationships that, company number one has with company number two until, they don't want to deal with us. They don't want a bunch of protesters outside of their door, outside of their offices. So our job as activists is to just build that pressure until they say, you know what, it's not worth it to deal in fur, or it's not worth it to not have this cage-free campaign. So let's just give it to them. And like part of the reason why our campaigns are effective is because we're running campaigns that are winnable. We know that like our asks are achievable. Activists trust our strategy and our results. I mean, the results speak for themselves. ICAW is a very successful organization. Like I mentioned, CAFT has been running campaigns that, they last sometimes days, sometimes a year, sometimes months. But in the end, we always get what we're asking for.
How do you decide which campaigns to take on, Suzie?
A lot of research goes into it. A lot of research. Probably, I don't even know how much, but we have a very talented team of campaigners, in our leadership team, people that have been doing this for years. And so, yeah, like traditionally with CAFT, like we have focused on, going against luxury designers, retailers. And part of the reason why is because like the luxury sector is really important to the fur industry. Yeah, I mean, we just look for who's most vulnerable, who we think that we can move. I think like the cultural relevance is also like really important. Like we've gotten fur-free policies from Max Mara, Marc Jacobs, most recently Rick Owens. These are designers that the fashion industry cares about. So like when they go fur-free, it's in the news and it makes the rounds and everybody hears about it. So yeah, we try to make fur less and less culturally relevant.
So Penny, what would you consider? I mean, I know you're doing more of the trading the activists than designing the campaigns, as you mentioned. But what do you consider the kind of elements of a successful corporate campaign that you're eager to get people involved in, and how do you help them gain the necessary? I assume you kind of feed people into other organizations and other
Yeah, that's
campaigns.
right.
So how do you help them get ready for that and get the necessary skills or maybe courage or whatever it is they need to succeed?
To the first part of your question, like something that makes a good campaign, I'd say something Suzie touched on, and like the biggest part is just something that's winnable, something that's like achievable and not such like an insurmountable goal. That's the thing that really sets groups like CAFT and ICAW apart, is they're doing things that are like winnable and achievable and like ways that we can like tangibly move the needle forward for animals. And when that's like a big concept that we teach activists when they start their own local pressure campaigns, because sometimes based on where an activist is in the world, if there's not a target that's a part of these bigger national campaigns that they can hit, starting their own local campaign is actually a great way to teach them these skills. And then like to your question about how do we teach activists these skills necessary to take part, our programs are a great way for that. Like our mentorship program, just working one-on-one with an activist who has done a lot of this work before, who's participated in a lot of pressure campaigns, who can show them that, attending a protest isn't as scary as it might sound. And it's actually a lot less risky than a lot of people might think. And then honestly, just like getting your boots on the ground and getting out there and doing it. That is a great way to learn those skills. And then, of course, our pressure campaign program, that's really the whole reason we created the pressure campaign program, is because as AAC started getting like more involved with pressure campaigning over the last few years, we were kind of doing that work like informally of just teaching people how to make their own pressure campaigns. And we noticed there was like a lot of demand for that. Like a lot of activists wanted to organize their own pressure campaigns in their communities. So we started like this formalized program where you can go and sign up and like step by step learn everything it takes, from like research to target selection to becoming a good organizer and a good recruiter in your local communities. So yeah, the programs are really like a formalized way of learning all these skills.
That's so cool. Gosh, I wish this was available when I was a little tadpole activist and trying to learn the hard way by fucking up constantly. But let's talk a
I
little.
agree, but I also want to add to it. This is just a comment, but it just really, another thing it doesn't remind me of when I was first starting to do protests and whatever, is that you guys get along with each other. I mean, I don't know if that's
We
hard,
do.
but it sure used to be hard. Everybody hated each other. It was very wearing.
That's really funny. I mean, maybe they're like secretly absolutely loathe each. No, kidding. You guys like each other. I can tell. So let's talk a little bit about goals, because I think that this is a really important part of pressure campaigns to clarify. And obviously, it's frequently not possible to achieve everything we want with a pressure campaign, especially if you're limited to things that are winnable. With some, like fur, you can, for example, seek to have a retailer simply stop selling it. But Penny, there are other campaigns that have essentially welfarist goals. So how do you decide goals that you're willing to go after, even if they will always fall short of what your campaigners actually want?
That's a really good question. And as AAC has started to work like more with the welfare groups and specifically more with ICOD, that's something we've really had to think about. And I think it really just comes down to like, what can we actually do for animals? Because at the end of the day, we don't want, it to stop at more hens out of cages. We want it to stop at, the abolishment of the entire animal agriculture industry. That's what all of us want. All of us are vegan. We all love animals and like champion for their complete liberation. But that is just not going to happen in the timeline that we wanted to. And what we can achieve is getting hundreds of millions of these animals out of cages and vastly improving their lives like right now, or at least a lot quicker than just, screaming at these companies to completely shut down and that ultimately not happening. Honestly, once we have kind of explained it to our audience and our activists like that, it was, everyone pretty much got it. And I think it probably was such an easy transition because we'd all been working on fur and foie gras campaigns for so long. Ideally, we don't want it all to stop at like fur or foie gras. Idealistically, we want all of these industries to end. But, what can we do for animals right now is, get these companies to ban fur, get these restaurants to remove foie gras from their menus. And a lot of these wins can happen quickly, and it like helps animals in the immediate. So that's kind of like the main principle that we work with. And then we just get more and more wins for animals. And that kind of, I don't know if moves the goalpost is the right term. But, once we just keep stacking up these wins, then we can go after like these harder, more steep goals that, that work more towards animal liberation.